G'day Internet, Kale from Veza here to show you how you can find and eliminate orphaned local accounts in the cloud. An orphaned account is an account or identity that doesn't have an active owner but still retains privileges in your systems. They happen because things change. People join companies, leave them, take on new roles, and our onboarding, offboarding, and provisioning processes aren't always perfectly in sync with reality. Orphaned accounts are a security nightmare because they're a perfect way for an attacker to gain access to your system, and they can also be really hard to find, so you may not know you have a problem until it's too late. I'll show you an example of how orphaned users can turn up and how you can deal with them. These guys here are Thomas and William. They used to work for my company Sigma Corp, but they've moved on to other opportunities. It happens, we got them fruit baskets, best of luck guys. And we ran our usual automated offboarding processes. Now, Thomas and William both had accounts in Okta, our IDP, and through Okta, we provisioned access to our customer databases in Snowflake. But one piece of our offboarding process failed, so the Okta users are gone, but the local users in Snowflake are still there. And you can see why these accounts slip through the cracks so easily. If I'm looking at Okta, these guys are gone, deactivated. If I'm looking at Snowflake, I could see these local users, but they might be two among hundreds, even thousands. Unless I happen to know the context, I might never realize anything's wrong. And that's why orphaned accounts can be such a persistent problem. They're the classic unknown unknown. Now, to reliably find, say, orphaned Snowflake accounts, I'm looking for the absence of a relationship between the Snowflake user and the Okta user. But how do you search for something that isn't there? So let's see what a situation like this looks like in Veza. Veza connects to both Okta and Snowflake to capture metadata about our data resources and the identities that might have access. So if I open up the query builder, and we'll start by looking at all Snowflake local users. I have 15 here in this demo environment, but remember in a real production deployment, there might be thousands of Snowflake users. Now, if I group my Snowflake users by their relationship with Okta users, I can see all of my active employees that I provisioned through Okta, but I can also flip this around and find Snowflake users with no relationship to an Okta user by setting the has no relation flag. Now you can see that some of these are likely service accounts, which we wouldn't expect to map back to Okta, but also, hey, here they are. I've surfaced my two orphaned local accounts. Now that I know they're there, it's simple enough to get rid of them. So we can search for and find orphaned local accounts, which is great, but better would be to constantly watch out for new local users with no relationship to Okta users so that we can catch these before they become a problem and without having to specifically go looking. So I can save this query. I'll call it orphaned Snowflake users, and I'll give it a description. And I'll set up an alert rule that will trigger if the query results ever increase by more than 0. In other words, anytime there's a new local user that doesn't map back to Okta. And I'll deliver this alert to a workflow that I've set up with ServiceNow. That's going to assign a ticket to my ops team with context about the new identity so that they can investigate and remediate. Plus, by creating that ticket in ServiceNow, we've also created an audit trail, so we'll know that it's been handled. So instead of worrying if I have orphaned accounts out there that might one day be leveraged by an attacker, I can rest a little easier knowing that Veza's watching out for them, and I can fix them before they become vulnerabilities. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.